other than I thought the last email I saw was that still has some soreness. Didn't try to do anything that I know of running-wise today. Did have some testing, and that looked good, thankfully. So doubtful for tomorrow, but I guess he could play, and then it doesn't look like it would be something, or it looks like it could be something that allows him to play as the series goes on.
Just going against the different, obviously much bigger lineup in the front court with the Sixers team. Do you guys obviously have success there, Fogeley and Horford? Do you think about tinkering with the starting lineup, obviously outside of Jaylen in the front court, or to match up?
Tinkering in which way?
Just like maybe bring in Baines to match up Embiid, or.
Well, we'll look at all of our options and go from there. I mean, we played them 4 times, and we've got a lot of information there. Even though it's a pretty new team, when you consider the additions of Bellinelli and Ilyasova, and the level at which they've helped that second unit play, and especially when they go to that skilled unit with Simmons at the point, with Sarge and Redick or Covington, Bellinelli and Ilyasova. That is a lot of ground you have to cover. So there are times to be big and times where you've got to be fast. And we'll try to be both of those at those times.
Do you have to go, and if Jaylen can't go tomorrow, do you have to go with Marcus as a starter, or do you try to keep the 2 Marcuses together coming off the bench?
We could go either Marcus starting. We could keep Shemi in there. We could go Shane. We've got to fill out one more spot, so we'll do that. We'll decide that tomorrow morning.
In terms of ball handling, is Jason Tatum more prepared to maybe fill more of a backcourt role at this point of the year because you've put him in position to be a ball handler and to guard on the perimeter a little bit more?
Well, I mean, his role doesn't change at all. I mean, the way that we play our wings, our 2s and 3s play the same. So I think that it's the same for him. Because especially if you're playing Marcus Smart more, obviously Marcus has the ball more. Shane plays more. He's got the ball more. So I don't think his role changes much. There's a lot of responsibility on our wings to be great defensively with how they run off screens. They're elite at it. They share the ball. It's a really fun team to watch on both sides of the floor, and I think our guys will just do what they do best, including Jason.
Brad, I'm sorry, I missed your first statement. Did you say Jaylen's doubtful for tomorrow?
Doubtful for tomorrow.
Coach, last night after the game, Al said that Shemi coming into the starting lineup really helped him conserve some energy because he didn't have to exert it on every possession against Giannis. What can you guys do during this series? Obviously, he's probably going to have a tough matchup every time. So what can you guys do to kind of help him through this series to be able to contribute at a high level at both ends?
Don't spend much time on the court on off days. He's going to have to, obviously we asked a lot of him, whether he was guarding Giannis or guarding Maker or guarding whoever, because we were going to him so much on offense. So at the end of the day, he's going to play a huge role for us. He's going to play a lot of minutes for us. He'll play at the 4 and the 5, and we'll go from there.
How different will the emphasis be on offense during this series as compared to the last? I mean, you guys really
each team's different.
Yeah. Each
team's different. So you just look at what they do. They've done a great job of turning us over. They've done a great job of impacting us, especially in the last game we played. Right after we both came back from London, they beat us here and did a really good job against us. So much different defensive system maybe than Milwaukee, but certainly both really effective, and these guys have been very effective against us, and they've got great numbers to back it up all year. They're good on offense and defense. They have the profile of a team that's going to play for a long, long time.
Baines has been really good for you guys all season long defensively. Does his value become even more magnified because you got a guy like Embiid on the other end of the floor?
Yeah, I mean, I think that speaks for itself. I mean, that's why you have Baines has been one of the best defenders in the league, and that's challenged every minute of every day against a guy like Embiid. Embiid's special. Everybody knows that. You're not going to be able to guard him with one guy. You're not always going to stop him from making shots. I mean, in the last game we played against Philly, Embiid had a much better game than he did in the previous game, and the shots were relatively the same. So there's going to be nights where, you know, you just try to make it as tough as possible. And he makes them, and you tip your hat and move on. And he's a heck of a player, and he impacts the game on both ends.
What has made Baines such a impactful defender? He's always been a good defender, but it seems since he's been here, he's taken it to another level.
His numbers were great, challenging at the rim. Prior to coming here, we really thought that would translate for us, because with the rim protection, we were, I think, all a little surprised at how well he moves laterally, and so it's allowed him to switch. You know, I thought some of our best possessions against Giannis were with Baines guarding him. You know, obviously Shemi had more than anyone, but, you know, Baines is able to move laterally, keep guys in front, make them take shots with him between them and the basket, and that's what you ultimately want. You know, and he's done a good job. I mean, he's been one of the best defenders in the league, and we're going to need him to be great in this series.
Brad, you haven't played him in 3 months, and then you got Kyrie and Tice, and they didn't have Ilyasova, Bellinelli. Thanks, Abby. What can you take from the tape of the first 4 games, and and with this quick turnaround, how tough is it to prepare?
Well, I watched their whole series. I mean, so you have an idea what teams are trying to do. They run more than they did before when we played them in January, but still some of the foundation of what they've always run, and rightfully so. I mean, when you got guys like, again, Redick running off one side of the floor and Bellinelli running off the other, and oh, by the way, that's the side they both run best off of. They can be on opposite corners. It's pretty impressive. And then, you know, obviously Ilyasova, you can keep a skilled 4 in the game the whole time with him and Saric, and when you're playing Simmons at the 1. So you have a lot of options. They've got a lot of options, and they showed that in the last series, and I thought, you know, they were able to adjust with a lot of options. I thought Justin Anderson came in and made a big impact defensively in that series. McConnell came in and did what he does. He's killed us in the 4 games this year. So, yeah, it's a good team. And I think what they do, the foundation of what they do is similar to what they did 3 months ago, but there are some tweaks and differences.
How much you were able to get size on Simmons in that kind of a situation?
Well, if Jaylen can't play, that's a little bit less size available overall. But you know, we're gonna have size and small and everybody else. So, you know, if you find yourself on him, because transition supersedes matchups and they come faster than anybody in the league. So you better get back, and you're not always matched up to who you want to be matched up to.
Thank you.
Embiid post-ups that last game, Baines was getting a hand right in his face. He was still hitting those shots. You guys have been trying to focus on not letting him get outside the defender's hip so he can snake through baseline or around the middle. Are you still focused at this point with the way their offense is going to change on just trying to stay in front of him and force him to take jump shots even if he is hitting them?
Well, I think everybody in the league wants guys to take challenge mid-range shots. So now it's easier said than done, because guys like Embiid can make 10 in a row. You know, and I think that's where you just have to decide, you know, at some point, at one point or another, you got to pick your poison. And the problem with this team is they exploit you bad if you, you know, if you pick wrong, because a lot of their shots are worth 3. And then he can get, you know, if you overextend on him and he drives it by you, he makes and ones, you know, every time he drives it. And same with Simmons. If you give those guys an angle at the rim and you foul them, they are making it and going to the foul line. So super talent. It's what happens when you're in the NBA playoffs. It's fun. Thanks.